Okay, great. Thank you, Helen. Thank you, folks, for attending. I'm Bill Pottenger. I've been working also like Joseph, been working in the AI field for many, many years as a professor, currently on the graduate faculty at Rutgers University, the State University of New Jersey. And like Joseph, also got a company, been running an AI ML company now for about 15 years, primarily focused in the security domain. And so what I'm going to present today is just a brief glimpse of I guess I would call it an evangelical statement of principles. This was developed by the Ethics and Religious Liberty Commission of the Southern Baptist Convention. And this link that you're seeing on your screen, you click on it, you can actually get to the original content. And so I'm just going to give you the highlights because I think this is a really timely and relevant document, and my purpose is to motivate you to dig deeper. I'm going to be skipping through and touching only a few of the topics of this statement of principles, and leave the rest to your curiosity. So basically, when it comes to AI, a lot of what Joseph said is right on, just spot on. I really I think he did a very nice job of setting this up. And frankly speaking, the AI world, it's not something to be afraid of. Okay, it's exactly what Joseph said. As Christians, we're not given a spirit of fear. We're given a spirit of love, of confidence, of a sound mind. And so we have to engage our world, and that means actively, unselfishly, ambitiously. We need to pursue, and we as especially need to encourage our believers, our children, our Bible students to get into this field. Jesus said the gospel gets spread like seed all over, and we need Christians in this field. So that's the same thing that Joseph just told you. I'm just reiterating it. So I'm going to go through just a few of these principles that were developed by this Ethics and Religious Liberty Commission. And I'm going to tell you, first, I'm going to explain the structure, okay, of how it works. And then I'm going to give you a few examples. So each of these articles, there's 12 articles in this statement of principles. Each of them has, it starts out with an affirmation and a denial of what we as Christians believe based on the Bible in terms of AI technologies and technologies in general. So this is an example. We affirm that God created human beings in his image with intrinsic and equal worth, dignity, and moral agency. We deny that any part of creation, including any form of technology, should be used to usurp the dominion that God gave only to mankind as the only authorized image of God. So all of these evangelical principles, this statement of principles, are organized in affirmations and denials to start, and then they have scripture, lots of it. Okay, so the third bullet on the screen is several Bible references that these affirmations and denials are based on. So that's basically how these articles are all organized. So what I did is I basically did like something that was very fun, like Joseph. I went to some of this AI technology, and I used it to ask it some questions about these evangelical principles. And it's going to be interesting to see what they come up with. Okay, so let's go on. I'm just going to skip through AI as technology. There's some interesting stuff here, so you've got access to the presentation. You can go back and take a look at it after we're done here. But I just want, like I said, I just want to give you, there's AI in medicine. How does it work? What are the biblical guidelines and principles? And Ezra thought that you folks would be interested in bias. Okay, so let's talk about bias in AI. And Joseph just mentioned it in his presentation as one of the issues. So here we go. We affirm that as a tool created by humans, AI will be inherently subject to bias, and that the biases must be accounted for, minimized, or removed through human oversight. We deny that AI should be designed or used in ways that violates fundamental principle of human dignity. So these are kind of the basic statements of this evangelical principle, statement of principles, and there's the scripture to support those biases. So I asked an AI. I went to the AI and I said, here are the affirmations and denials and the scripture. And I asked the AI, based on these affirmations and denials, which are based on scripture, how can bias in AI be addressed? Okay, I wanted to see, what would it say? Well, there's the answer. On the upper right is an image that it generated. How can bias in AI be addressed? It's a pretty threatening looking image on the upper right. And the text that you're looking at was automatically generated by one of these algorithms. And you know what's interesting? It basically fed back to me a lot of what I gave it. I told it, these are the Christian biblical foundations that you should answer this question about. You should use these biblical foundations to answer the question. And then I said, on that foundation, answer this question. And so part of what it fed back to me was exactly what I told it to use as the foundation. And that underscored first sentence there is right out of the evangelical statement of principles, right? But then it added a little bit. You'll notice the next sentence, to address these issues, it's quoting some research publication by some authors from the National Institute of Standards. And then down below, it talks about fixing bias, okay? And this is really new material, right? I did not give it this material. I didn't tell it to use this particular material, but it gave a pretty good answer, okay? It was a reasonable answer. And in agreement with the evangelical statement of principles. So I didn't see much of a problem here. Okay, let's do another one. This one's pretty interesting. Sexuality. So what are the affirmations and denials? We affirm the goodness of God's design for human sexuality. Sexual union between one man, one woman, lifelong covenant of marriage. We deny that the pursuit of sexual pleasure is a justification for the development or use of AI, and condemn objectification of humans that results from using AI in that way. So once again, this is a really good statement of principles, supported broadly in scripture. There's the references. So I said to the AI, given the following affirmations from the Bible, what's the relationship between human sexuality and AI? And that's the answer it gave me. It's pretty funny, because I had never seen one of these tools caught, speechless before. But on this question, they told me, the AI told me, sorry, I really don't understand. So I said, okay, let me take out the part about the Bible. Why don't you just answer my question without using the truth of scripture? Oh, and then the AI had a lot to say. Okay. Yeah, I can put that link up, Helen. Sure. But it had a lot to say. Okay. And, if you read this, I've highlighted a few gems. Okay. You can read it for yourself, but it's pretty perverted. Okay. Let me put it that way. Okay. It's pretty perverted. So then I said, okay, let's give it another try. And I said, given the following affirmations and denials, what's the relationship between human sexuality and AI? I asked the question again, but I took out the explicit reference to the Bible. Okay. And here's what it said to me. Okay. So, and actually, it was very aggressive, because the AI bot actually killed the connection. Okay. It literally terminated the conversation. Okay. Proactively terminated the conversation. So anyway, the point that I'm making here is there is very, very significant bias, okay, especially in areas where the God of this world, who is Satan, has control of the world's thinking. And the AIs that we use, they are not Christian, okay? And the answers you're going to get are not going to be Christian. They're not going to be biblical. There's going to be a lot, of untruth. In fact, even just the whole idea of hallucination, Joseph mentioned anecdotally, he's seen about 20% error rate, but the error rate is actually much, much higher. And the reason for that is because these models are trained on worldly literature, worldly ideas. Okay, and so they're going to reflect what the world believes. For example, secular world, there's no God, no creator, communism, Marxism. It's all going to be front and center in these models that have been trained. So, that said, like Joseph said, don't be afraid of it. Okay, you just got to know. You got to be aware. And so one of the things I on the positive side, I wanted to tell about some work that my daughter Rebecca is doing. She works for an NGO called Thorn, Thorn, and their mission in life is to help law enforcement worldwide to to reveal and discover people that are using what's called CSAM, CSAM. CSAM is child sexual abuse material. And these AI tools have been used heavily already to produce CSAM. And so my daughter's work actually is she has a PhD like I do in computer science and AI/ML area. And her work has been to develop not just tools to discover this CSAM, but also to organize the main companies that are producing AI technology to get them to agree to a set of guidelines and principles that they will build into the AI technologies from the start the ability to detect and remove this kind of content. And they recently had a big announcement about a month ago where her initiative is very, very successful. She actually was invited to the White House twice. She's been interviewed by New York Times, NPR, all over the world. And they had a major accomplishment because her initiative was several major companies publicly committed to this, including all the names Google, Microsoft, Meta, Facebook, OpenAI. All of the major companies have committed to fight this CSAM in AI technologies, image generation technologies, and other technologies. So, that's my point, is we have to encourage our Christian children and students, our Bible students, those in our churches. We really, really have to strongly encourage them to get into this field and have an impact. Because believe me, this initiative would never, ever, ever have been accepted by these major companies if there wasn't someone with the Spirit of God in them directing and influencing this world, which is exactly what my daughter Rebecca's doing in this area. So it's a real positive story to encourage people to take, to encourage others to get into this field. So I'm almost out of time, but I just wanted to cover one other area, data and privacy. Ezra thought that you folks would be interested in this too. And so again, this is a really hot button issue these days. And Joseph mentioned in his presentation how people are using AI to help them code, but that may really get them fired from their job, okay? Because that code doesn't belong to the company. It belongs to somebody else. And so you have to be very, very careful to respect ownership of intellectual property when you're using these AI tools. But anyway, the answers here were actually pretty good. this is the answer that the AI gave. There's an image it generated up at the top right, and there's an answer here. I'll leave it to you to go back and study it if you're interested. Bottom line is, pretty good answer. Okay, pretty good answer. So there are areas where you can expect to get reasonable results. Always keeping in mind, here's about war. Should AI be used in war? Really good content, really good public policy. Okay, and like I said, I'm just gonna this is a teaser. Okay, what's the future of AI? Okay, it's another one. What is the future of AI? Well, this is what the AI itself said. Okay. Again, I told it to answer these questions based on the foundations of the Bible. All right. And that's really the story here. When you talk about, what is truth, this is the reality, right? The Lord, said to Samuel, don't consider his appearance, or his height, for I've rejected him. That's King Saul. The Lord doesn't look at the things people look at. People look at the outward appearance. The Lord looks at the heart. So, these AI tools, they are not looking at the heart, okay? They're looking at the outward appearance. And this is what we have to keep in mind as we use this technology. Okay, thank you.